Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our channel Botany with YouTube. Today I'm here, a PhD scholar. I'm going to present a topic Phylum Mycophycophyta. Contents Mycophycophyta about lichens, lichens habitat, water lichens, structure and cortex, algal layer, lichen forms, reproduction, importance, and conclusion. Phylum Mycophycophyta are the lichen. Lichen is a symbiotic relationship between a fungus and an alga, or between a fungus and photosynthetic cyanobacteria. Botany with YouTube is our channel. If you are new in our channel, then please try to subscribe our channel firstly and press the bell icon. About lichens, there are approximately 3,600 species of lichen in North America. Those are just the one we know about, and new discoveries are being made every year. Lichen habitat. Lichens have specific requirements for their habitat. Although they can occur on a variety of substrate, each substrate must have the individual components in the right amount that growing lichen needs. These requirements are water, air, nutrients, light, and substrate. Water. When lichen are wet, they turn on and start photosynthesizing and growing. When lichen are dry, they turn off because brittle and go dormant. This process is known as poikilohydry, and the organism such as mosses and liverworts operate in the same way. You can observe here the structure of lichen. It's the mixture of algae and fungi. Air is also a factor which affects the lichen formation. Lichen need clean, fresh air to survive. They absorb everything through their cortex, from beneficial nutrients to harmful toxins. Lichen absorb it all. They also absorb water in the air, which is why so many are found in fog belt along oceans and big lakes. Light is also a factor which affects the lichen. Similarity to plant, all lichens photosynthesize. They need light to provide energy to make their own food. More successfully, the algae in the lichen produce carbohydrates, and the fungi take those carbohydrates to grow and reproduce. Different lichens need different amount of light. That is where you will find lichen on exposed rock and desert soil, as well as on a leafy tree or in its shadow on the mossy ground below. The color of lichen is also dependent on the amount of light it receives. Substrates. Every lichen lives on top of something else. The surface of that smoothing else is called substrate. Just about anything that holds still long enough for a lichen to attach to and grow is a suitable substrate. trees, rocks, soil, houses, tombstones, cars, old farms, equipment, and more can be substrate. The most common natural substrate are trees, rocks, and soil. What are lichens? Lichens are a complex life form that is symbiotic partnership of two substrate organisms, a fungus and alga. The dominant partner is the fungus while which give the lichen the majority of its characteristics from its thallus shape to the fruiting body. The alga can be either a green or blue-green alga, otherwise known as cyanobacteria. Many lichen will have both type of alga structure and cortex. Lichen do not have a waxy cuticle like plant have on their leaves, nor do they have vascular tissues such as xylem and phloem to move nutrients and water around their thalli as a plant does. Everything in the lichen environment is absorbed into the lichen structure. Lichen get their water and nutrients from their surrounding environment via air and rain. You can observe here the structure of lichen. The general structure of lichen is composed of layer of fungus and alga. Algal layer. When a lichen is dry, its color is usually gray or colored like the fungal cell on the upper cortex. When a lichen is wet, those cells become transparent and the alga cells underneath get a chance to show their vibrancy. Green algae generally give the lichen a bright green color when wet, although there are exceptions of pigmented lichen with green algae due to the fungal partner showing its color. Cyanobacteria can be a layer under the upper cortex or in tiny pockets on top of the upper cortex if there is a green algal layer already present. Cyanobacteria will give the lichen a dark green, brown, and black color. In some lichens, however, there are no layers of fungus and alga. The individual components are mixed together in big uniform layer and the resulting growth form a gelatinous layer. This type of lichen are called jelly lichens. You can observe here in structure a jelly lichen with no specific layer of fungi or algae. Photo by US magazine, and dark color of this species is due to the cyanobacteria layer under the cortex, and the third one is these species are the good example of green algae showing through the fungal partner and giving the thalli green color. Medulla. The majority of lichen thallus is comprised of fungal filaments called the medulla. It is made up of fungal cells that are loosely packed in the middle of lichen thallus, have thin cell wall and are thread-like. These result in a cotton-like substance underneath the outer cortex. Basal attachment. Lichen attach their substrate by different means. Rhizines are fungal filaments that extend from the medulla and attach the lichen to its substrate. Rhizines have no vascular capabilities like the root in plants. They do not move water or nutrients to the lichen. They simply hold the lichen, down to whatever it is sitting on. Holdfast is an extension of lichen thallus. Instead of many rhizines, some lichen have a central peg or holdfast that attached to the substrate, generally a rock. These type of foliage lichen are called umbilicate lichens since the central holdfast is like a umbilicate cord. Botany with YouTube is our channel. Share our channel, share our videos with your other friends, colleagues, and researchers. Lichen forms. Lichen can be divided into three basic forms: crustose or crust-like, foliose like leaf, fructose like stalk. Crustose lichen, you can observe here in diagram. They are flaky or crust-like. They can be found covering rock, soil, bark, etc., often forming brilliantly colored streaks. The yellow one or the granite stone in the Rocky Mountains are probably common york lichen. You can observe here in diagram yellow crust with other crust on a rock photo and grey crust with other crust on a rock and many colorful crust on a rock in the third picture. Foliage lichen. Foliage as leaf-like lichen can be prepared thinly or in more advanced form. It is netted branch-like. Branch foliage lichen have a distinct top and bottom surface, thus differentiating them from most fructose lichen. You can observe here the structure of lichen on the bark of tree. Fructose lichen. They are the most highly developed lichen. The branches are much closer in form to true branches, although unlike most plants, the lichen branch has no specialized vascular system for transporting fluids. You can observe here in diagram the structure of lichen. Lace lichen can be seen hanging in the thick curtains and covering entire oak trees with their flat lace-like growth. You can observe here in diagram. Reproduction and dispersal. Two types of reproduction are occur in lichen: vegetative reproduction and sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction. Many lichen reproduce asexually either by piece breaking off and growing on its own, like vegetative reproduction, or through the dispersal of spores containing a few algal cells surrounding by the fungal cell. Because of the relative lack of differentiation in the thallus, the line between the diaspores formation and vegetative reproduction is often blurred. Fructose lichen can easily fragment and new lichen can grow from the fragment. Many lichens break up into fragments when they dry and dispersing themselves by wind action to resume growth when moisture returns. Sexual reproduction. Structure involved in reproduction often appear as disc, bump, or squiggly lines on the surface of thallus. Though it has been argued the sexual reproduction in photobionts is selected against, there is strong evidence that suggests meiotic activities Many lichen fungi reproduce sexually like other fungi, producing spores formed by meiosis and fusion of gametes. Following dispersal, such fungal spores must meet with a compatible algal partner before a functional lichen can form. Some lichen fungi belong to basidiomycetes and produce mushroom like reproductive structure resembling those of their non lichenized relatives. Most lichen fungi belong to ascomycetes. Among the ascolichens, spores are produced in spore producing structure called ascomycota. The most common type of ascomycota are the apothecium or perithecium. When apothecia are shaped like squiggly line segment instead like disc, they are called larellae. You can observe here the disc-like structure of lichen and crust-like structure of. The three most common spore body types are raised disc called apothecia, bottle-like cup with a small hole at the top are called perithecia, and the shape like perithecia but without asci and release the asexual or sexual spore and fungi of Ascomycota. You can observe here in diagram. Lichen glossary. Apothecia, the most common sexual reproduction structure of lichen. Fungal partner, it is cup-shaped or disc-shaped and produce spores. You can observe here in diagram. It is just like a cup shape. It is little pocket of cyanobacteria that form on top of the lichen, normally black in color. You can observe here. A lichen that has a green alga for its photobionts are shown in diagram. Cilia, little hairs on the margin of lichen, for example, black hairs on the margin of foliage or lichen. You can observe here cilia, black hair on the margins. Macro and micro lichens. Macro lichens are foliage or fruticose lichen. Physical features are seen with the naked eyes, and micro lichen are crustose or microscopic lichen. Physical features are difficult to see with naked eyes, and a microscopic structure and a microscope is required for identification. You can observe here the different lichen structure in diagram. Botany with YouTube is our channel. Like our channel. If you have any question, you can ask us in comment section, and you can also share your point of view related to our topic in comment section. Ecological importance of lichen. Lichen importance. Lichen have been used for many things by both animal and humans. They provide shelter, building materials, tears, birds and insects. Importance. In fact, some insects have adapted their appearance to look like lichen. which are a large part of their habitat. Some insects change their appearance through evolution while others simply use lichen as a dress. You can observe here in diagram the lichen and the bird body color is same. Lichen provide nesting material for insulation and comfort of the bird. You can observe here hummingbirds. Human use lichen for dyes, clothing and decoration. Antibiotics properties. Lichen like Osnia are researched for their antibiotic properties for used in the development of drugs and a variety of other products use lichen in their ingredient list today. You can observe here the lichen structure. Conclusion. Lichen is also called Mycophycophyta. It is made up of two organisms, sac fungi and algae. Live on rock, trees and soil. Food for some animals help in formation of soil by breaking down rocks. Mr. Fungi meet with Mr. Algae and form lichen. Thanks to visit our channel. Thanks for your concentration, for your attention. Good luck to all of you. Allah Hafiz.